Coding University, Training Humans to Train Themselves. This one is the first of the flip books. And the first of the flip books is going to be with numbers because we don't normally say numbers. It's easier for us to think and we aren't triggered so much into the verbal process. So, and that's one of our biggest challenges is that the words trigger us into using the verbal process. We're going to use a few tricks to try to keep you from doing that and start to get you to look at that written material as code. So numbers we think more of as codes with value. So we're going to do them to start with, sort of to get you a feel for it. And see if I got a couple of them here. Okay, so this is you're going to see numbers between 1 and 100, and you're simply going to ask, do they belong before 25? After 75, or someplace in the middle between 26 and 75. Okay, and all you want to remember is this is a silent process. You don't say the number, you don't say the group it belongs into, you just look and you go, belongs in that group? Okay. All right, so here, so just give you an example. So you might see this number and you just decide what group it belongs into. Okay. And then you might see this number and you say, well, what group does that belong into? And then you might see this number and you decide what group that belongs into. So it's a pretty easy process. We're always going to be looking for looking at a code and a simple direction of putting it in that. So it's a mental process. Remember, it's conscious to start with, and with practice it's going to get easier, and at some point it's just going to, you're just going to look at the number and it's just going to pop into the right group, and you'll just, oh, there it is. It's one of those. It's like, seeing red. When you see red, it isn't like, what color is it? No, it's red. It just pops in. Okay, and that's going to happen to you with all these little things that we do, and they're just a matter of training. Now, what we want to do too is remind you that this is a video that you're watching, but we can adjust the speed so we can take into the fact that to begin with, your thinking process is slower, and as it goes faster, you can go to a higher rate of video. So we're going to just to give you an example here, here's a video on YouTube. Okay, and I'm going to do it here. See this little gear here, right here? Okay, this is the speed gear, or the settings, excuse me. And we're going to go back to the playback speed. Now you can change that. Notice it goes from as slow as 0.25, which is 4 times slower, or you can go as much as 2 times faster. So it'll start out always at normal, and I think we're starting them out at two numbers every second. Okay, I think that's the starting rate. So for some people that might be too fast, so you might want to go down, to 2 times slower or 4 times slower. But you want to make sure that it's a silent mental process. Remember, don't get upset. Conscious thinking is slow. So again, just get something that works for you and go through it, and then go through it again and try to make it faster and faster. So that's going to be the process as we go through these. So this first one is numbers, deciding if they belong, if a number between 1 and 100 is in the group before 25, after 75, or someplace between 26 and 75. Okay, Coding University, this is your first flip book, Training Humans to Train Themselves. Okay, this is going to be your second flip book, Coding University, Training Humans to Train Themselves for Coding. This is going to be your second one, and this is going to be the alphabetization we talked about earlier. So you're going to look at a code and decide if it belongs in the beginning of the alphabet, the middle of the alphabet, or the end of the alphabet. Now, don't get all upset whether, oh, where's the beginning, where is the end? and where are all these? It's what it feels like to you. Really, is what counts. Because again, you're only thinking. It's a thinking process. You look, you think, you decide. Okay, and if you want to, you can go A to I is the beginning, J to I think S is the middle, or R is the middle, and S T U V is the end. So up to R. You can decide for yourself. But again, even if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. The idea is that you're looking at it as a code, yes, and then you're looking at it as a decision, just getting to that end. So always remember, the goal is to get to the end. Look at the code, get to the end, and then the code disappears. Who cares? Oh, that was one of those. Okay, so we first look at maybe this first code, and you decide where it goes. We look at the second code, and we decide where it goes. We look at the third code, and we decide where it goes. Okay, we don't say anything. Again, just decide where it goes and move on to the next one. Okay, alrighty. By Coding University, training humans to train them. My Coding University, training humans to train themselves. This is the third of the flip books for today. This should be deciding if it's a drink, a dessert, or part of the meal. So let's just do it here real quick. So this is, and you decided. And this is, and you decided. And this is, and you decided. My apologies of not getting them in focus very quickly here. But all you do is look, and you decide which group it is, and then you go on. Again, remember, you can adjust the speed in the settings gear. Okay, you can go faster or slower. Okay, and again, first time you do it consciously, it's gonna, be a little rough, okay, and then later on it's going to get easier and easier. You're going to be doing these twice a day, once in the morning or early in the day sometime, and then once again in the evening. So again, you're going to have about 6 of these, and each little word or code, shall we say, is going to last a second, half a second, or less. And you're going to look at it and decide, look at it and decide, look at it and decide, look at it and decide. And again, your brain is going to get exhausted because it's conscious effort. So hang in there. You're going to do great. Just remember, is make that exciting that it's getting exhausted. Yeah, I'm developing that strong mental muscle, or whatever you want to call it, and go for the burn and things of this nature. Okay, by Coding University, training humans to train themselves. Okay, Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves. Today, this next one is your fourth flip book. Again, about 60 seconds or less. Okay, and you're going to be deciding if the code is worn on the head, or if the code is something that is worn on the body, or something that is worn on the appendages. The arms, the legs, the hands, the feet, something like that. So let's do the first code. Okay, where is that, Warren? Where are these, Warren? Okay, and where is this, Warren? Okay, there you go. That's what it's like. Again, just quickly look at it, decide, and move on. Adjust the speed so that it works for you. And again, get it so that it's challenging, but not too challenging. Okay, Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves. Vicoding University, training humans to train themselves. Okay, this next flip book, this is the fifth one here, so this one and one more. Okay, you're going to decide whether the code is something that is found in the air, the land, on land, or in water. Okay, so let's first start with the first one here. This code is found where? This code is found where? And this code is found where? Okay, that's what it's going to be like. Again, you're probably going to go through them pretty quickly, and notice you're looking at them and the key is silent. Don't say anything, just think that where they belong, and again, don't say the word. You just look at the code, know it's a code, and it belongs somewhere, and silently you decide where it goes. By Coding University, training humans to train themselves. By Coding University, training humans to train themselves. Now, this is the last of the flip books for today. This is the sixth one, and we're going to be deciding whether the animal is a small animal, a large animal, or a medium-sized animal. And again, don't get all hung up. Whatever hits you first, just that's what it is. You know, oh, that's big, that's small. Maybe that is ferocious, but it's small. That's why you think it's big. Okay, it doesn't really matter. The key is you're seeing it as a code, and you're looking into your mind as silently and getting some meaning from it. So again, we're going to look at these real quickly here. So you're going to decide if this is a small, medium, or large animal. So the first animal is, there it is. Okay, the next animal is a, and there it is. And the next animal is a, oh, where is it? I can't see it. There it is. Okay, those are the animals. So just quickly look at the code, decide what size they are, and you're all done for this today for the flip books. Don't forget the next video part here is the out in the world training. We'll be doing that in My Coding University, training humans to train themselves. Out in the world training. Uh, One of the things we want to do is to get you to, when you see any written material, to start to think of it as code as your first response. Right now, it's probably a verbal response. You probably try to say it and figure out how to, or you look at it, try to figure out how to say it to yourself, and start the verbal process to try to figure out what it means. And what we want to start you to do is to just look at it as code and give you some directions as we go through these weeks on what to do with that code. And to start with, a very simple, the first one time that you'll be looking at the code is that you'll be seeing the code and just deciding if the code belongs at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the alphabet. And what you'll notice too as you look at the codes, that you'll also sort of way back there have that sense that you know what the word means, but you're going to really want to say it. But don't worry about what it means. Just remember, you're just sorting it to the beginning, the middle, and end of the alphabet. Um, that meaning, it will come to you and stick with you, and it'll be satisfying later on, but maybe not right yet. So and again, as you drive down the road, be a little careful. This does take a conscious effort, so I don't want you being distracted in dangerous, when there's a lot of traffic, when intersections and things of this nature. So please be careful. It is okay after you sort of get used to it and find a safe stretch of road where it is safe to practice it. Go for it, okay? But don't get distracted. Always be safe first. The second thing is be sure to set it up that you're with the intention that you're going to do that for the day. In other words, set up when you're going to do it, how, what during doing what, etc., etc., and then check to see if you do. Okay. Alrighty. Anyway, the whole goal is to get you so that your first look at written material is it looks at it as code, and you say, wow, there's a lot of code out here, and I'm a person that reads code, so it becomes part of your identity, that understands it and codes it and quickly puts it all together, and that's where we're going to. Okay, so this is just to start you out for the week. So for this week, coding out in the world training is to look at the codes and to decide if they go to the beginning, middle, or end of the alphabet. After that, you can tell yourself you're going to read it or whatever, but because you can still do that, and that's a fine skill to still have, but not as your first response. Okay, Pat Connor, Coding University, training humans to train themselves.